You know, it's been a while since our buddy Jim Jordan's been on the program, chairman of the House Judiciary Committee. How you been, Jim?
I'm doing fine. How are you feeling, brother?
I'm okay. You know, you were a world-class wrestler. Did you ever tear, know anybody who ever tore their tendon, their right quad tendon? I tore 100%.
Wow, man. That's serious.
Crazy.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding.
So I've been stuck in this one place for like 2.5 months. They had operated on. Anyway, I'm not whining, even though I am.
Yeah.
Jim, you're going to be very busy over there in the House Judiciary Committee. I don't mean for confirmations. That's on the Senate side.
Yep.
But you're going to have efforts made, aren't you, by the Democrats on your committee and in the House to try and control the Department of Justice, control the people who are appointed there, control the agenda there, and go on the attack every time they disagree. I mean, I've seen this 1,000 times.
Yep.
I was there with Meese and Reagan.
Yeah, no, they're definitely going to do it. And we saw a few years back when President Trump first gets in office, they're making up things about kids in cages, which was all baloney. Obama's the one who put in the cages in the first place. So they'll have those kind of things. But we just got to do what we told the American people we were going to do. We said we're going to secure the border. We said we're going to get this economy moving, reauthorize the tax cuts, put in place common sense energy policy, and then continue our work on making sure these agencies actually serve we the people instead of being weaponized and functioning in a political way and coming after the American taxpayer. So that's why I'm so encouraged by President Trump's selections. He's putting forth nominees who understand we need a smaller government, more freedom, and agencies that actually work for the taxpayer, not against the taxpayer.
One of the things you did immediately is you notified the Department of Justice not to destroy any records related to the unconstitutional rogue prosecutor and his activities, Jack Smith. How confident are you that they're not destroying stuff? By the way, if they do, it's a violation of the Presidential Records Act, ironically enough. And if there's anything classified, it's a violation of the Espionage Act.
Yeah, very true. I think there's a long history of Congress having oversight of these. There's these special counsels, and then they issue a report, and they come in front of Congress. Well, Jack Smith's gone away. I assume he's going to do some kind of report, but we just wanted to put him on notice. Hey, preserve everything. After all, one of your lawyers, one of the guys working for him, this guy Jay Bratt, looks like was running off to the White House after he's working for Jack Smith. But we want to know what was going on there, and also maybe just as importantly, Jay Bratt's the one who said to one of the defendants' lawyers, hey, we didn't know you were a Trump guy, and we know you're interested in this judge position. I mean, that's as a lawyer, Mark, you can't say that stuff. But
it's called blackmail.
So
Jim, the court never got to the bottom of that. We've never had any public information about that. You're right. There'll be no ability to immunize themselves now. You have a right to get to the bottom of that. Do you think you'll call that lawyer in to testify, even if you do it behind closed doors and then force Bragg to testify?
Yeah, that's what we're looking at. We just want to see what these documents are. We get President Trump gets sworn in, the new administration, you get the new head of the Justice Department. We think we'll get this information, and then you go from there. But yeah, we always say everything's on the table to get to the facts, to get to the truth, and hold people accountable as best we can in the legislative branch for actions they took.
The other thing I'm looking at outside of your committee is there are some systemic things we need to do in terms of the bureaucracy and so forth. It seems to me that there are a number of innovative things we can do where we try and put things that are systemic in place. I was talking to Chip Roy about this, I think it was last night, rather than, a shotgun approach. As an example, just as an example, there ought to be a committee, there may be, of Congress, the House and the Senate, a permanent committee, when the bureaucracy is issuing regulations that meet a certain financial threshold, could be determined by the GAO and the CBO, whatever it is, that it can't go in, they can't institute it on their own without Congress having, let's say, up to 6 months to look at it. And if Congress has to vote it up or down, and if Congress doesn't vote, it's dead. Yeah.
That concept is similar to the REINS Act, but you're exactly right. Where you have substantial type of regulatory, rules and regulations come forward that are going to impact the economy in a huge way. Mm-hmm. The people who are directly elected by the American citizens should have a final say on that. So I totally support that. that concept. I think it's one of the things we should pass early. Like, we all get sworn in on the 3rd. I think we should pass a number of things between the 3rd of January and the 20th when President Trump gets sworn in. Pass the H.R. 2, the border security immigration bill. Pass that, even though it can't get 60 votes in the Senate, go ahead and pass it. Pass the REINS Act. Pass the common sense energy policy. Pass those things and start showing the country, this is what we're for. If the Democrats in the Senate want to vote it down, okay, but then take as much of that as you can, and a lot of that you can put in the reconciliation bill, which is the vehicle that allows you to get around the 60-vote hurdle and actually get it done for the American people.
We got to stay, you're 100%, we have to stay on offense. We have to push real, serious. I mean, even the Penny Act from long ago, people don't know what we're talking about. It's a steady, slow but real reduction in spending every year over a 10-year period. And this was recommended by a moderate Democrat, of which there are very few these days. Things like that, we ought to be pushing. Yeah, just constantly be on the agenda, be on offense. It shouldn't just be left to President Trump. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Right. No. I was just going to say, and we're now the party of common sense. Mm-hmm. One of the reasons I think the left lost so badly in this election is because the left's policies are crazy. I mean, not all Democrats are crazy, but the left that controls their party is. Sarah Huckabee Sanders said it best a year and a half ago when she said the divide in America today is normal versus crazy. And you can go down the list. It's crazy to defund the police. It's crazy not to have a border. It's crazy to let non-citizens vote in our election. It's crazy to tax unrealized gains. It's crazy to let a spy balloon fly across the country and then shoot it down. I mean, you could just keep going. So we're the party of common sense. Put forward common sense policies, pass them in the House. They fall a little short in the Senate because they can't get to 60. But then, as I said, take everything you're allowed to under the Constitution, under the rules, put it in the reconciliation package, and pass it with 51 votes in the Senate and the majority in the House, and put it on President Trump's desk. That's how you're supposed to govern. That's how you do what you told the people you were going to do.
It's going to be a lot easier, even with a 3-4, whatever number majority you have in the House, a Republican Senate, and a Republican president, to actually try to get things done. They do have the filibuster in the Senate. Now, unlike them, they were going to eliminate it to rush everything through. I assume the Republicans will not. But doesn't that demonstrate in and of itself the difference between the two parties and the ideologies?
Yes, it sure does. And also, I'll tell you what else does, is the left keeps talking about President Trump's going to seek retribution for the people who came. Did he do it his first term? Yeah. The only people who use politics as the basis to be weaponized and these agencies to be weaponized for political reasons and go after their opponents is the left. And they did it to President Trump, and they did it to so many other people. They do that. What we do is say, no, I've been fighting against this political retribution concept for clear back to when they went after the Tea Party 12 years ago. So we're not the party that does that, because we believe, and you say it better than anyone, we believe in the Constitution.
We're here with our friend Jim Jordan, chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, a good friend of ours. Jim Jordan, have you noticed any change in attitude of the Democrats since the election? I mean, are they going to moderate a little bit, or they still got the bomb throwers?
No, I think it's more the latter. But the change I have noticed is the American people. It's amazing, and I'm sure if you weren't, if you didn't have your surgery recovering from, you'd be seeing the same thing. I'm out and about. You're walking through the airport here in the last week and a half, and people look at me and they give me a little thumbs up, or you'll see that little twinkle in their eye, that little smile on their face. I was getting on a plane Saturday, and I'm waiting there. I do my little, at the gate. And one of the workers, he's got the vest on, the orange vest, same kind of vest President Trump wore when they called us all garbage. He's got one of those vests. He's a hardworking guy at the airport, and he kind of looks at me, smiles. He waits for me to get my ticket at the gate there, and I start walking down the ramp, and he catches up to me. And you can tell he's like a new American. He's here from somewhere in Africa, and he says, "Oh, isn't it great? How about Tuesday? I like watching this stuff." And he was just excited. I said, "Where are you from?" He said, He told me he's from Africa when he first came here. But you see that everywhere. There's hope. People love what the energy, President Trump's perseverance, the policies, the common sense he stands for. I mean, it's refreshing, and it's you worked for another great president, President Reagan, and it's like the morning in America again. You sense it, you feel it, and it's so refreshing.
What do you think our enemies are thinking? The Iranians, the Communist Chinese, the North Koreans, and the Russians about now?
Well, you saw that the day he went, and they said, we want to stop this negotiation over in Qatar. It's like you see it. So everyone is like, deep down, everyone is like, thank goodness. And I'm sure you've had this experience too. You talk to people who travel abroad, and they'll come back and say, I was just talking to people. I was at the restaurant. People come up to me, and they'll say, like, we need Trump back in there. The world's a safer, better place when America leads, and you need a commander-in-chief who projects strength and confidence. So I think it's refreshing for the entire planet. And our truest friends, like the state of Israel, I know deep down that they appreciate this as well. So again, now the key is, Mark, this is critically important. Republicans got to do what they said. Those of us in Congress, we've got to be committed to implementing the agenda the American people voted for. And what I so appreciate, as I said earlier, is the people President Trump is nominating for these key cabinet positions, these key positions in the government. They understand the voters want an attitude in the government, an attitude that says serve the people, not this swamp attitude and everything else we've seen around here with Biden and Harris.
Mm-hmm. You're 100% right. How about the Republican caucus? Totally different attitude, I imagine. Yeah, they got a spring in their step, I'm guessing.
Sure do. I mean, we had, like, this week, you had all the freshman class in, a bunch of new members and all, and they're excited. I feel President Trump came and spoke to our entire conference the other day. He did a great job, as he always does. There was the kind of energy you need, and frankly, the kind of energy that America, Americans aren't wimpy, sissy losers. Americans are winners. They want a winning attitude. They see that right from the top. That you feel that sense right now about there's a reason we're the greatest country ever, and there's a lot of reasons for it, but it sure helps when you have a guy who's commander-in-chief who understands how great this country is and what we need to get done.
I spoke earlier in this program, and I'm going to talk about it Saturday on Life, Liberty, and Levin. I'm a little tired of these Republicans in the Senate who buy into what the reporters say, and they're about to pick off one or two or three of his nominees. This is his team. This is who he wants. Yeah. Go ahead and get them through. If they do something wrong or bad, once they're in, that's a whole different story. Give the president who he wants. He made promises. He won in a landslide, and this is who he thinks he needs. Give him his team, correct?
Yep. Yes, he won every single swing state. He won 30 states. He won the popular vote. He won an electoral college landslide. He did something Teddy Roosevelt couldn't do. This is a mandate. He won the Senate. We kept the House of Representatives. Let's allow the president to put in place the people who are going to. And you know what? I know one thing. The individual he selected for Justice Department. Do you think Matt Gaetz is going to say, "Oh, it's okay for the DOJ to investigate moms and dads at school board meetings. It's okay for the DOJ the FBI to write a memorandum in the Richmond Field office that says if you're a pro-life Catholic, you're an extremist"? No way. So we want people with that kind of attitude across the government who are, again, fighting for we the people.
It's kind of hard to take a party seriously that nominated Tampon Tim to be vice president of the United States, don't you think?
Yeah. I will never understand that selection. I just won't. Just from a purely political standpoint, what they were thinking, what Vice President Harris was thinking, I just don't get it. But anyway, I don't think it mattered who she picked. I think President Trump was going to beat whoever they put up. It was we had something we very seldom get in American politics, Mark. We had back-to-back administrations running for the top job, and you could do a direct comparison. And they couldn't run on their record because their record was pathetic. They offered no vision, and what they did is attack our nominee and then call all his supporters fascist, racist, garbage, deplorable, whatever they called us. And it turned out the American people said, well, we don't like that, and we really liked what President Trump gave us just a few years ago. We want that back. And he won again, as we said, in a landslide.
I don't think they've learned a damn thing, and their media haven't learned a damn thing. Over at MSNBC and CNN, they're just hammering away, I'm thinking to myself, you're so out of touch, but the problem is you drive this poison in our system, our cancer in our politics, the media. It's like they're the point of the spear, aren't they?
Yeah, it's the good news is that people see through it, and we have good people like you who are out there telling the truth. But I've said this for, I don't know, a couple of years now. The left has a template. The left tells a lie, pick your lie. Trump colluded with Russia. The big media reports the lie. Big tech amplifies the lie, And then when you tell the truth, they call you a racist or they call you a fascist or whatever. And then pretty soon your position proves accurate, but by that point they're on to the next lie. And they just repeat the cycle. But thank goodness we got a point where suddenly the American people said, no, we're not believing the lies anymore. And here's the other great thing about this election. This new coalition focused on defending the First Amendment and free speech rights. I mean, no one would have predicted you'd have Donald Trump, Elon Musk, RFK Jr., and Tulsi Gabbard on the same team. But they are because they care about the First Amendment, for goodness sake. And it's that's refreshing as well.
And your state of Ohio finally knocked off this guy Brown, who's about as left-wing as they come, and you got a great new senator, don't you?
Yeah, he's a good guy. We were for him early in the primary. Bernie's a great guy. We campaigned with him around the state, and he is a good man. Talk about the American dream. His family came here as an immigrant family from South America. They achieved success in the car business. He worked his tail off. He wanted to help give back to his country, and he ran a great campaign. And that race was called early. I mean, he beat Sherrod Brown early, and it was a great campaign and a great guy who's going to make a great senator.
Now, you run the House Judiciary Committee. Are you concerned by the openly illegal efforts in Bucks County to try and steal that senatorship from Dave McCormick and hand it to Bob Casey?
I'm very concerned. And by the way, I campaigned a lot with Dave. Dave called me up a year ago, and we got to talking. And he told me he was a very, very good high school wrestler, captain of the West Point wrestling team. And I was like, man, you should have told me that. I'd been for you in the last race. So we campaigned with him. He is a super guy, much like Bernie Moreno. Worked his tail off.
He's terrific.
Did very well in business, and he's going to be a great senator. But yeah, they got Mark Elias and everyone else in that state trying to play games. But Dave's a super guy, and I think he's going to hold on and win this thing. But yeah, he's like Bernie, another great guy we're going to have in the United States Senate.
It's funny how they won't accept the results of an election, and they're never asked about it, isn't it? All right, Chairman, we really appreciate you. We're going to want to have you back more often as things kick into gear. Thanks for everything you do. You're a good man, Jim.
Thanks for all you do. You're the one defending the Constitution, too, so we appreciate that. God bless you.
God bless you, brother. You take care of yourself. He's a great guy.